Alex Sotiropoulos here with Maroons women's head basketball coach Aaron Roussell. Coach Roussell, two big ones on the weekend, and of course that highly contested, highly anticipated Rochester game on Sunday. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about the Friday game against Emory. You guys got down to a 7-1 deficit to start off the game. How did you guys end up coming back so quickly in a span of about less than a minute? Did you tell your team anything?
I don't know how much I actually told them. I think part of that is relying on a group of 5 seniors. When you have experience like that, I don't think they were necessarily panicking. I don't think I was either. Not that, you're always worried about things, but I thought the first 3 minutes just kind of, we missed some shots that I thought were open. We turned the ball over against their press, all things that I felt comfortable with us fixing without having to get call a timeout and kind of get too bent out of shape about things.
Now, in the first half also, there was a scary moment when Megan Herrick hurt her knee. She fell to the ground. She was in visible pain. What were you thinking right there? Because she's had past knee trouble.
Right, and I was a little bit shielded, so I didn't exactly see how she went down. It didn't look, sometimes, and probably unfortunately as a women's basketball coach, you've seen enough ACL injuries to know. Sometimes you think you know that. You think you know it's in the ACL when she went down, and I didn't think that with this one. It didn't look like that to be the case. My walk out there, I was really, really hoping that she was just scared, and I think obviously when you're the family history and the personal history that Megan has with her knees, you can understand why somebody would get scared when you went down like that. And thankfully that's all it was. She bounced back and was probably went back in the game about 5 minutes later, which I didn't anticipate it healing quite that quickly, but it was a good thing for us.
Now, you had told me last week that you were most worried about Hannah Lily's performance given how she's been performing in the past for Emory. She was held for 4 of 12 from the field, 9 points. Can you tell me what attributed to that?
I think it was, we talked about a little bit about the team defensive effort and a lot of focus that was put on her. But I think a little bit even before that, I thought Megan and Julie both did a really, really good job. Jenna had her stretch in there against her as well. And I think those guys really did a nice job, kind of the one-on-one side of things. And I thought that we kind of focused on help when we need to help, and in a couple different instances that helped out our team. And defensive Hannah too. She missed some shots that I'm sure she'll hit on Friday. So that sort of combination there kind of definitely helped us out on Friday. But you never know what will happen this coming week.
Now, looking at the Rochester game, you didn't have too much time to prepare because, as you told me last week, you tried to focus solely on the game on Friday and then look to Sunday's game. How did you prepare in such a small amount of time for such a large game with both teams undefeated, Chicago second in the nation, Rochester fifth? Yeah,
no, and I think so much of that was we didn't let our kids focus on Rochester until Friday night, Saturday morning, and I think as a coaching staff, obviously we had done our homework and done our game plan was pretty much set throughout the week last week, even before Emory's game. But I thought our kids were really locked in last week. Even during the film session, you could tell there were some questions in there that I really thought that they bought into what our game plan was, and they really asked questions to understand what it is that we were doing and why we were doing it. So I definitely felt that not that you always want to win, but I really felt that they were really locked in for Sunday's game.
So looking at Sunday's game then and putting it into perspective, were you a bit surprised at a 19-point win over, a team that's ranked 5th in the nation?
No, most definitely. And to be fair, I was surprised, pleasantly so, but I was surprised with the margin in both those games. And obviously anything can happen again this week, but we expected those to be 2 really close games, and they were for different points of the game. But Sunday in particular, it was kind of a combination of, I thought once they got going, they made it a close game there at the beginning of the second half. They missed a couple shots, and I felt like every time they were missing shots that maybe sometimes would fall for them, we went out and we hit like 3 threes in like a 2-minute stretch there, if I'm not mistaken. And sometimes that inflates a lead, and fortunately for us, we were lucky enough to hold on to that lead once we got it.
Now, the new D3 Hoops poll came out for the week, and Maroons are still in second place. Are you a little bit surprised about that, or is that where you want to be?
Not surprised, and I'm perfectly fine with where we are. Obviously that's other people's opinions, and I think anybody would be crazy not to have Amherst in that top slot right now. They've done nothing to lose that. They're the reigning national champions, and wherever we fall in after that, I'm, to be honest with you, not overly concerned about it.
So looking at this weekend's games, it's the exact same as this past weekend, except both of these are away.
That's a big difference, so yeah.
Definitely. What did you pick out from the game that you played against Emory to try to fix for this Friday's game?
Yeah, I thought there was definitely things that we didn't do well, and I know that there's things that Emory is going to look back and say that they didn't do well. So I actually expect Friday to be a much tighter game. I expect it to be probably a little more well-played game by both teams. I thought we missed some shots that you're like, we haven't been doing that for a while, and I think they're going to watch it and be like, we haven't missed that shot in a while. So I thought it was two pretty good defensive efforts from two really good offensive teams on this past Friday. So I'd have to think that things will open up a little bit more and maybe even be a little bit more high-scoring this week.
And then again on Sunday, Rochester, they probably want to come back with a vengeance. What do you think about that? And are there, I don't know, is there some anxiety there, some worries about them coming out with a vengeance, trying to?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something, maybe not just in particular about Rochester, but I think we always have that concern. I mean, I think we go into every game finding 2 or 3 different reasons to be concerned of why we're to lose that game. And I think the Rochester game, yeah, they're going to have a little bit of revenge factor going for them. But, like I said, I think they'd also look back at that game and realize that they let a few things get away from them. And I'd have to think they probably feel pretty good about having about being back at their place on Sunday. But I think one issue that might be a little bit overlooked is both of us have really tough games on Friday, and you just never know how much that can take out of you. And obviously they have a really, really strong program in their building on Friday night. We've got a dogfight, obviously, down in Atlanta, and against a team that plays a really fast style, and sometimes that can take a lot out of you on top of the travel in between the 2 games.
Definitely. And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I mean, I think we're looking forward to it. I know both those 2 teams that we're playing are obviously looking forward to playing us again. And, it's just it's a scheduling quirk a little bit to try to play these 2 teams back to back. But it can make it tough, and I think sometimes even makes it tougher on the team that happens to be fortunate enough to win the game before.
Awesome. Yeah, there you have it. Coach Roussell's take on the games this past weekend. The game's coming up this Friday and Sunday. The Maroons open up at Emory on Friday, at Rochester on Sunday.
All right, thank you.